The content of this video is intended for service technicians. The procedures and processes depicted are to be performed only by trained technicians. All procedures and processes were filmed in a controlled environment. Some safety equipment and/or safety guards or barriers have been removed or foregone for visual clarity. Always read and apply the general and specific safety rules and safety messages presented in the appropriate service manual and operator's manual. Always wear appropriate personal protection equipment.
Hi, it's Russ with the technical training team, and we're going to show you how to lock up a 3162 from flex mode to rigid mode when equipped with the in-cab cutter bar suspension system. So we're going to convert this head from the unlocked position. Basically, the last thing we cut with this was soybeans last fall, and now we need to set it up for cutting wheat this summer. So we're going to have to lock it up, and it starts by going underneath and looking for some of the lockout pins. Okay, so we're going to have to get underneath the head on the center two runners, and we're going to have to remove the lockup pins. Now, because we have the in-cab cutter bar suspension system, we need to remove these so when we use the in-cab cutter bar suspension system to pull this thing in the locked up position, these are going to be bottomed out on these pins unless we remove them. So we're going to pull these two out on the center two runners, and then we can go move the cutter bar up from inside the cab.
One other change to talk about on these model year 15 3162 flex drapers are the two new center lockup pins that we have. So what we've done here on this head is removed a couple of the stainless flex pans just to get a better view of this. But you can see here we have both a lockup pin on the right hand side and left hand side of the center knife drive. So again, when we're running in rigid, we need to have these in place, and these are going to help support the center knife drive gearbox in the center of the cutter bar. Now, when we're running in flex, there is a storage position back behind, underneath the head, right behind where this pin is currently sitting, that they can be stored in when we're not running in rigid mode.
Okay, so in the cab now, what we're going to do is lower the feeder house down, and we're going to go about halfway or so. We have to be, we can't be at the top of the feeder house travel because the in-cab cutter bar adjust won't work up there. Now we're going to use shift and real raise to activate the in-cab cutter bar suspension system. We're going to watch the indicator on the back of the head move to the right, which is indicating we're lifting the cutter bar up towards the locked position. We're also going to watch the cutter bar itself, and when the cutter bar has stopped moving and the indicator on the back of the head has stopped moving, we know we've moved the cutter bar up into the locked position. And now we have to raise the feeder house up and get out and go underneath the head and put in the lock pins on each runner. Okay, so we've used the in-cab cutter bar adjust to pull the cutter bar up in the locked position, and now we're going to move the lockout pins from the storage position to the locked position, and we just remove the clip and move them forward. That's going to pick up our down stop as well and run it through the front hole, put the clip in, and that'll lock that runner. You'll have to do each runner, including the two in the middle where we remove them before we pull the cutter bar up, to suspend or to support the two runners that are holding the center knife drive. And that's how you convert from flex to rigid mode.